If you give me 1 minute with a house, I can usually tell you if that house is going to be a smart buy or a slow financial drain. Because the house always tells on itself by things like roof line, grading, floor, ceiling, electrical, and the way that DIY was actually done. So I'm going to walk you through my exact checklist step by step so you can tour homes faster, ask better questions, and avoid the kind of surprises that get expensive after closing. The 60-second test starts before you even get out of the car. When we pull up, I'm looking at the street and the lot, and I'm asking a few quick questions. Is the property sitting lower than the neighboring homes? If it is, that can be a drainage clue. Do I see standing water, soggy grass, or pooling near the foundation? That can signal grading problems, and those problems can be expensive to fix. Then I look at what the property actually borders. Is it close to major roads, near commercial property? Because noise, traffic patterns, and light change how a home feels, and it can certainly impact the future resale value. I also take a glance at the surrounding homes to get a sense of overall upkeep on the street, because that's part of the homeownership experience and property value. As I walk up to the house, I'm looking at the roof first. A roof is not just a roof. It's one of the biggest surprise expense categories in home ownership. I'm checking for missing shingles or tiles, sagging lines, and obvious patchwork. I'm also looking for gutters that don't make sense or water staining under the roof edges, along with landscape to evaluate if major trimming or tree removal will be a factor. Then I ask a simple question. How old is the roof and what type is it? Because roof age and roof type can change your insurance options, your premiums, and your timeline. If we can't confirm the roof age, I'm already thinking about insurance, documentation, and the right inspections. The next thing I'm surveying is the perimeter of the house. I'm looking at the foundation and exterior walls to check for any cracks. Tiny hairline cracks can be normal, but bigger cracks, step cracks, or long horizontal cracking can be a red flag. If I see repaired areas, I'm making a mental note to find out what happened and how it was repaired. I'm also scanning for other risk clues like wood rot around trim, soft spots around exterior wood, and staining around windows or doors that could suggest water intrusion. If the house has a pool, I pay close attention because a pool is a great addition, but it's also a hidden budget category. Here I'm looking at the deck for cracking or shifting, or checking for the coping and making sure that there aren't any tiles that are broken or signs of past leaks. I'm also looking at the equipment, including the pump, filter, heater, and any water treatment systems. Does it look newer or does it have the look like it's been weathered for years? Because replacing pool equipment can get expensive and fast. So all of this happens before we enter the house. And if you're wondering how you can remember all of this in your own home search, don't worry. I'm gonna link a checklist for you to use when you tour your own property. Now let's talk about the inside of the house. The first thing I do when I walk into a house is I look down, because the floors can tell you a lot and they can cost you a lot too. If it's wood, I'm looking for dark staining, warping, soft spots, or signs of water exposure. And if it's tile, I'm looking for cracks, broken tiles, loose tiles, or hollow sounds when you walk. And here's why I care about tile, because if you have to remove a large area of tile, demolition and disposal can get expensive fast. It's not just a quick swap it out. It's a real project that can be dusty and expensive. After the floors, I'm scanning the ceilings and the walls, and I'm looking at water stains, patch jobs that don't match, cracks that look bigger than normal settling. Sometimes small cracks are just settling. People see that and they sometimes panic. But if I'm seeing bigger cracks, repeated cracks, or signs of movement, then I'm making a note of it for sure. Next, I take a note of the windows. I'm checking the windows for function and sealing. Do they open and close smoothly? Do they lock properly? Do they feel tight when they shut? Then I look at the frames and the sills for any soft spots, peeling, paint, or staining, because they can hint at moisture getting in. If I'm seeing issues like this across the home, I'm factoring in window repairs and potentially replacement down the road. Next, I like to take a look at the electrical panel. Not necessarily a deep inspection, but just checking for any obvious red flags. Does it look overloaded, messy, like it's been modified poorly? Is there wires hanging out everywhere, or it looks chaotic? That's something that needs further inspection by a professional. Now let's talk HVAC and water heater. What I'm watching for here are any rust, corrosion, or signs of leaking around the equipment. I also look at the outside unit. If it looks heavily weathered or rusted, that's usually a clue that it's older. Then I check the water heater for the install date, because water heaters have an average lifespan of between 8 and 12 years. Replacing one isn't the end of the world, but it is an additional expense that you're gonna have to plan for. As I move through the rest of the home, I watch out for what I call DIY tells. I love a good DIY homeowner, but sloppy workmanship can be a preview preview of what's behind the walls. A tall tale sign here can look like loose vanities, cracked fixtures, poor caulking, or anything that looks rushed. And I always check under the sinks in the bathroom and the kitchens for leaks, staining, or any musty type smell. All of these areas of the home give us a good idea of what we're really looking at beyond the typical costs associated with the purchase. Let's talk a bit about seller disclosures because they're helpful, but they're not perfect. Some sellers are extremely thorough and some are not. So I don't want you relying on the disclosure as your main safety net. If a disclosure is available, I like to preview it before the tour so we know what to verify. But I always trust in what I can observe myself and what inspections can confirm. And here's the bottom line. It isn't about finding the perfect house, it's about avoiding an expensive mistake. If you're identifying multiple red flags from this list, especially the big ticket categories, I would advise you to proceed with caution. Get a full inspection from a well-rated, fully qualified inspector. And if you need specialists like roofing, HVAC, pests, drainage, or structure, bring them in. A few bucks spent now ahead of the purchase can save you thousands later. If you want a one-page red flag homebuyer checklist, it's linked below. It's the exact framework that I use so you can tour your homes faster and with more confidence. I'd love to hear from you. What are the biggest red flags you've seen in a house that made you immediately say, nope? Drop it in the comments. I'm Joel Poulin, your Palm Beach real estate broker, and I'll see you in the next video.